The Mongols were one of the most destructive, influential civilizations of all time. They began as pastoral nomads in the Eurasian steppes. Their way of life, at first, was not much different than those around them. The Mongols moved as the herds they followed did. This required a sense of leadership, which came from the leader known as the Khan. Slavery was a common sight in Mongol society. Those who were captured during refugee or who sought refugee and slavery to escape starvation performed menial tasks for the Mongols. Strong groups protected weaker groups in return for tributes. The leading families intermarried and combined resources to help generate political federations. Marriages were arranged during childhood, and a woman's powers and rights came from her husband. Women from prestigious families could exercise power in negotiation, though they faced a threat of assassination like the men they married did. The mothers and wives of Mongol rulers typically managed state affairs between a ruler's death and the selection of a successor. Mongol society contained religious diversity. However, Buddhism, Christianity, and Islam were most common. Most Mongols practiced shamanism as well. People believed in the leadership by Khan, who could speak to and for their gods.
In 1209, Genghis Khan was acclaimed to the throne. Born as Timberlane, Genghis Khan was convinced early of the importance of alliances through his father's death. He wanted to eliminate the common unit of tribal groups and form a large, prosperous Mongol identity. Genghis Khan and the Mongols in general are known for elite military tactics and organization. Military groups were organized in multiples of 10, with the leader of every 10,000 having a personal tie to Genghis Khan himself. The Mongols' key tactic was the use of horses against the common army of ground soldiers. In 1209, Genghis Khan had invaded the Tegunautes of northwest China over a trade dispute. He overwhelmed their rulers and forced a reduction in their tariffs imposed on the Mongols. Again, in 1215, Genghis captured the Jin capital of Beijing, known as Beijing today, again because of a trade dispute. He began to make his way westward in 1219 with an attack on the Kazawam. After 1221, Genghis Khan left the command of most campaigns to subordinate generals.
Genghis' son Ogadai became the Great Khan in 1227 after Genghis Khan died on conquest. Ogadai completed the invasion of the Tangut and the Jin and set Mongol governors as regional governors, newly conquered lands. By 1234, most of China was under Mongol control. In 1236, Beitu, Genghis' grandson, attacked Russian lands and conquered Kievan, Russia, Moscow, Poland, and Hungary over the course of 5 years. The death of Ogadai in 1241 saved Europe from further damage. Guyuk, another one of Genghis' grandsons, became the new Great Khan, and conquest gave birth anew. In 1258, the Mongols sieged Baghdad, killing the last Abbasid caliph and the whole regime along with him. The capital, Karakorum, was destroyed, and Kublai declared the Yuan Empire in 1271. Other family members continued to dominate Central Asia. This, along with a hatred of Kublai, constituted the creation of an independent Mongol center in Central Asia and the spread of Islam as well. In 1279, the Yuan destroyed the southern Song dynasty and continued onward into Annam. Annam became a source for tribute for the Yuan. Next, Kublai's army invaded Champa in 1283. Champa became a tribute state as well. Kublai planned to attack Java, that failed, as did the attacks on Japan in 1274 and 1281. Because Mongol forces held small numbers, superior bows and excellent riding was key. The Central Asian bow, utilized by the Mongols, could shoot further than any bow that they would face. The elite Mongol cavalry only met its match once at the Battle of Ain Jalut, where Mamluk forces attacked with similar precision and intelligence as the Mongols. The Mongol forces were known to slaughter, so many areas were forced to surrender even before the Mongols began their siege. Captured peoples became a vital part of Mongol society. Genghis Khan and even his successors took the elite craftsmen and artisans and put them to work for the good of the Mongols. Other men contributed to the Mongol.
Mongol society embraced trade, and trade embraced the spread of disease. In southern China, the bubonic plague had festered the population for years. Caravans and other means of transportation servicing the Mongols along the Silk Road spread the plague. As the Mongols attacked and lost Kaffa in 1346, they left behind the plague. Flea-infested rats carried the disease furthermore into Europe and Egypt via trade from the people of Kaffa and other Crimean cities. This spread of disease devastated Europe more than the Mongols ever could have. As of 1260, the Ilkhanate established by Hulegu controlled Iran and the surrounding areas. Those Mongols who had conquered parts of Russia established the Golden Horde. Both Khanates ruled over Muslim subjects. A religious issue rose. The elite practiced shamanism and Buddhism, which enraged the Muslim peasants. Various leaders sought to convert to Islam, the most famous being Ghazan in 1295. While the Ilkhanate and Golden Horde quarreled, a new power, the Khanate of Jagadai, emerged. Timur, commonly referred to as Timberlane, saw himself as the new Genghis Khan of Jagadai. He was a Turk and could not become Khan, but he did manage to sack the Delhi Sultanate and defeat the Ottoman Sultan in 1402. Whilst the Mongols are basically praised for their accumulation of a large landmass, they also contributed much to the culture and sciences of Islamic Eurasia. Rashad al-Din, an advisor to Ilkhan ruler Ghazan, attempted first history of the world. His writings and illustrations depicted the early history of Europe as well as that of China. Another scholar, Nazar al-Din Tusi, became the Mongol interest in science. His academy near Tabriz provided a model of the movement of planets that influenced the Copernican model. The mathematician Gaius al-Din Jamshid al-Kashi also invented the use of decimal notation.
Later, as Mongol control weakened, forces in Russia, Europe, and Anatolia fought back. The Mongol conquest devastated Kievan, Russia. However, many Russia aspects survived. The decline of the Golden Horde gave rise to the Russian autocracy. Also a new power, the Ottoman Empire, began to develop in Anatolia. In China, the great Mongol Khans unified the people and began an era of cultural blooming. Kublai Khan's Yuan Empire set a social hierarchy with Chinese at the bottom. This essentially gave rise to internal strife that would be taken over by the Ming in 1368, despite efforts of the Mongols to systemize China. Many Mongols remained in China through the Ming control. At first, the Ming Emperor Hongwu based the empire on anti-Mongol policies. However, Yuan practices soon became normal. The Mongols essentially left China and headed to Korea in 1231. There, Mongol rule opened the area to new innovation. In Japan, the Mongol threat was prevalent. Knowing this, Japan was forced into military and organizational innovations at the cost of their Kamakura shogunate. In 1281, the Mongols attacked Japan only to be blown away by what the Japanese call the kamikaze. The Mongols first attacked Vietnam in 1257 and ended up creating two tribute states out of the
The Mongols ruled with openness. As a consequence, Mongol unity, which lasted less than 1 century, saw the spread of ideas, techniques, and products across Eurasia. Divisions and hostile actions amongst Genghis Khan descendants ultimately provided opportunities for achieving local aspirations. Like in Russia, with the establishment of new political unity in Eastern Asia, China, Korea, and Annam found unity and political identity as a result of Mongol rule. The threat of Mongol siege prompted centralization, innovation, and cultural transformation. Despite the traditional stereotype of death and warfare associated with the Mongols, their reign established connections across Eurasia and led to the developing assertive, culturally innovative states throughout Eurasia.
The Mongols unknowingly opened a trade of technology that traveled with the goods themselves along the Silk Road. They helped spread the basics of astronomy, mathematics, metallurgy, and gunpowder. The Mongol troops had advanced bows and engineering skills that helped them take over more and more people throughout Eurasia. The people that they added to their ever-growing empire experienced a period of knowledge sharing between the east and the west parts of Eurasia. This would in turn help everyone in the long run, as the Europeans would receive gunpowder and refine the guns that they already used. They would leave an everlasting impression in social aspects too that would be remembered far more than the technology that they spread throughout Asia.
The Mongols would always be remembered for the bloodbath they created, but their impact on society of the people they conquered was changed as well. They caused a unity in the Chinese people for the first time. The Chinese grew to hate the Mongols so much that they caused early nationalism to occur. The Chinese would forever hate and fight to keep the Mongols out of their homeland from then on. On the other side of Eurasia, in Russia, the feudal system was stopped for a short time and would cause a delay in the ending of serfdom. This would be the only change in the Russian people and become more of a pushback in social reforms for them.